and welcome to my escape. Also, welcome to 2024. If you're new here, my name's Katie. I talk about books, primarily fantasy, romance, YA, fantasy, romance, any combination thereof, I'm pretty much there for. So in this video, we're going to go through pretty much how 2023 went compared to the goals I set for myself last January, looking at my Goodreads year review, all of it kind of together, and then some numbers I threw in there for myself as well. So let's get into it. Also, before we get into it, okay, look at my shirt. I have a shirt just like this that's in burgundy. And when I say I have a shirt just like this, my dad had a shirt that was just like this in burgundy, and then I found it in the summer and I loved it. It's so comfy. Literally so comfy. Now I took it to school with me. I wear it like every other day. And I was just shopping my mom and dad's closet because I didn't pack anything to wear when I came home for Christmas. So I pretty much just been wearing my whole family's clothes. And I found a gray version. Let me know down in the comments below, should I steal this one too, or is that just too much, you know? He hasn't noticed the burgundy one is gone though, so like, they're just so comfy. I love them so much. Anyways, now let's get into the book stuff. So in 2023, I purposely did not set a reading goal because I did in 2022 in like September, and that really messed with my mind and it stressed me out a little bit. It just wasn't fun at that point. So 2023, I said no reading challenge. But my personal goal was to read less than 2022. So in 2022, I read 120 books. I said, that's too many. We need to calm down. So my goal, 2023, was to read less. I read 116 books, which is less than 120, not by much, but this is a pass-fail kind of channel. And that's a pass right there, so success on that goal for sure. Of the 116 books, 2 of them were complete rereads, so there's only 114 titles on my Goodreads. I'm obviously not going to flip through them all right now, but if you want to go on a book-by-book basis, follow me on my Goodreads down below and you can see live updates and also go back to whatever book you're kind of looking for to see what I ranked it, and then usually I give it a 2 or 3 line review. And my average book length stayed about the same. In 2022 is 359, in 2023 it was 357. One thing I just doesn't really matter, but I like is that my first read of the year was Lady Midnight and my last read of the year was Lady of Ashes, and I like the cyclical lady. I don't know, I liked it. I wanted to include it, so there you have it. So for rankings, the ones that really matter to me is my 5 stars. So in 2022 I had 6 5 stars of 120 books because 5 stars, they gotta do something to your soul. So only 6 in 2022. In 2023, I had 14, which is huge for me because it tells me that I'm narrowing it down to the books I like, to, you know, stuff that's really in my wheelhouse, and I'm enjoying the books I read kind of more overall. That's a very random stat to pick, but for me, that's what it tells me, and I love that that number has gotten higher. In terms of the rest of the breakdown, 31 books were 4 stars, 36 books were 3 stars, 23 books were 2 stars. 7 books were 1 star, and 3 books I did not rank. One was an arc, and I didn't love it, but I also thought that maybe I shouldn't have read that one because it wasn't really my genre, so didn't want to tank the review, just didn't rate it. Another one was a late DNF, and I just truly hated it, so I wanted it on my Goodreads. It's like, I've read this, and I hate this, and I have my little review blurb up there, but I didn't want to rank it because I don't think I can rate a book that I never actually finished. That just seems problematic to me. And then the third was a nonfiction, and although I did read it as a leisure read, that's not really what my channel's about, so I didn't want to rank it on my channel Goodreads. And then moving on to how did I read these books? This year I read 71 ebooks, 19 audiobooks, and 17 physical books. 19 audiobooks is huge because last year I read 1 audiobook, or I listened to 1 audiobook. So in 120 books, I listened to 1. This year, out of 116, I listened to 17. So that's another big jump. Primarily, that became a thing in December when my library just way increased its catalog and there were a lot more audiobooks to choose from. Also, I started using it kind of more. I wasn't really using the full potential of my library before. And I had a lot of books to get through that month. So I can obviously get through audiobooks far faster than I can read them, either physical or ebooks. So I had a goal in 2023 that was to read 90% of my physical shelves. I set that goal at school, so not the shelves behind me, but my school shelves. I was like, that's doable because I was sitting at 45% of it read at the time. However, then I bought a bunch of books, and then when I came home for summer, I brought a bunch home, and then when I went back in the fall, I brought a bunch of other ones to school, and then I bought more books while I was there, and then at the end of the year before Christmas, I brought a bunch of books back. So that number is just completely inconsequential because there's no way to really track what I had before, how much of it I read, how much of I kept, how much new books have come in. That is just a disaster. And not only do I not think that 90% was a very steep goal for me to set, there's just really no way to quantify it now that matters, because my bookshelves have changed so much. And also, anytime I read a book and don't like it, I get rid of it. So that significantly hurts my numbers as well, because a lot of the books that I've read, the physical books, are already gone by the time I do the count at the end of the year. So that was a fail. Simply A, because I can't really quantify it, and B, because I can promise you, based off of my numbers of 71 ebooks, 17 physical books, I did not complete my mission of getting to 90%. So that was a fail, but also I'm not going to set a goal like that again, just because when you actually like rationally think it out, it was not an attainable goal to set. Also, disclaimer, these numbers might not exactly add up in terms of like my personal count of physical versus audio versus ebook. A lot of books I did like a mixture of, like I might have on audio when I'm going to and from school, but then I might have the physical book on my bedside table for when I go to bed. So really it's just like me thinking back, being like, I felt like I did the majority on the audio or the majority on the physical. Could have messed it up. The numbers might not exactly match. This is all very subjective, and it's really more qualitative than specifically quantitative, even though there are numbers. I'm not a math person. I'm not a numbers person. This is how I feel about those numbers. That's all I can say. And then the other goal that I set for 2023 was read 3 genres a month. Started off really well, and then in sort of like February, March, April of last year, I had a giant capstone project, and I chose a science fiction book to do it on. I'm not an English student, but it just like fit the project. And then I was having difficulty separating my like hyper analysis on this specific book for this specific project with just other sci-fis I was reading for fun. So I kind of just stopped reading sci-fi for that, and then that project kind of burned me out on it altogether, and I didn't really have an interest in picking up sci-fi after that. So that really dropped off, and my 3 main categories are fantasy, romance, and sci-fi. So when you take one of those main ones out, it's kind of hard to hit that 3 genre goal. So that really faded in the months, and then towards the end of the year, pretty much all I read was romance for I think 2 months or something like that. Like every book was a romance book. But then December, and spoiler alert for January, it's very, very YA fantasy driven. So I am a mood reader, it comes and it goes, but that goal was a fail. And then my last goal for 2023 was to finish everything on my Goodreads currently reading list. I am a binge reader. I read a book in 2 to 3 days usually, maybe a week if I spread it out. But I really just focus on this book and I get through it, and that is how I read my books. That's how I like to read them. So if something's sitting on my currently readings for months and months and months, it doesn't mean like I'm reading a chapter a day or something like that. It means I've probably forgotten about it or don't have any interest in picking it up. And for some reason, having like 13 books on that list was really, really annoying to me. So 2023, I set the goal to finish, I think it was 12 in January, to finish my currently reading list, and the plan was to read 1 a month going through, because, 12 months, it just worked out. I didn't necessarily read 1 a month, especially during like the summertime. That kind of faded because the books were at school that I needed to read for this list, not at home. But in December, I had this big like self-reading challenge, or whatever you want to call it, to read everything off that list. What I messed up on though was throughout the year, as I was knocking stuff off of the currently reading list, I was also adding books to the currently reading list. So then it hit December and I had 13 books back on this currently reading list, and I was like, this is messing with my goals. So December, I gave like myself like a little reading challenge, and I said read everything off that list minus 1 book, but just finish it and then start the new year fresh. And I did it and I succeeded. So all of the 2022 books that were left, which was 4 in December from 2022, they were read pretty much first. And then 8 that I had kind of started and stopped throughout the year, they were also finished. 12 and 13 is not the same number, but remember when I said that these were like qualitative numbers? It was how I feel about the numbers. So the 13th book on the list was actually this one, A Day of Fallen Night. I started this one as a book club with my friends in the spring. It is a beast, okay? It's a monster. It's like 900 pages or 1,000 pages or something like that. And we got 50 pages in, and then we were like, what is going on? Nobody really knew. So we put it down, and then I kind of forgot about it. And I said, reading 12 books in a month is already a lot for me, especially a month that I have to travel in, that I have to do my exams in. Like December's just busy. And this bad boy, getting through 900 pages was an excessive goal. So I just said, we're just gonna slightly forget about it and pretend like that one's not on the list. And we did, and we didn't finish that one. So if you're a technical person, I went into 2024 with one book on my currently reading list. But if you're a how do you feel about the numbers kind of person, I went into 2024 with a clear list. So love it. And I marked that goal as a raging success. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for my 2023 in review. Ask me any questions down below in the comments. If there's anything I missed or anything you're really curious about the year, I'm open to questions anytime. You can also DM me over on Instagram. My details will be in the description down below. But that's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed 2023. What were your stats like? Let me know down in the comments below. Message me over on Instagram. I love chatting with you guys. I love seeing what your years were like. So definitely don't be afraid to hop in the discussion. I post videos every Friday, sometimes on Tuesdays when I'm feeling it. So ring that bell for notifications and you won't miss anything. I'll catch you guys in the next one.